I started to create more of a mindset for myself, for other people, for my kids. And it started to pick up traction. And then the love for it started to come back. And now I'm at a point where I want to try to get it out as much as I possibly can to all my veteran brothers and sisters who are struggling within themselves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Handforged. Today we have Franco Sapia with Zero Six Reveille. I met Franco through, probably just social media. We know a lot of the same people.
Yep.
I've been following his clothing brand and kind of what he's been doing on social media for a little bit. He reached out, wanted to hop on, and kind of made it happen. So welcome, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I feel like apparel is tough to get into, man. I know a few people have tried to do it and haven't been able to be really successful, but I know a couple of people who have. Kind of hearing your story, kind of where you started at, kind of what you did, and now what you're doing. I think it's inspirational, man. I think what you're doing is awesome. And I, wanted to talk to you and kind of get to know a little bit more about what you're doing.
Sounds good.
So why don't you just let everybody know a little bit about you, kind of where you started, where you're at now.
Well, my name is Franco Sapia. Grew up in Lawrence, Massachusetts. I come from an Italian family. Moved here from Italy when I was about 6 months old. Parents moved to Massachusetts. Grew up in an Italian household. Very strict. Couldn't do anything. It was just one of those things. At the age of 11, my dad told me, it's time to go to work. I'm like, 11 years old. Work? What? So there was a local shoe store on my street. I went in there and I said, hey, are you hiring? Old man goes, yeah, sure. I says, cool. When can I start? He says, next week. I says, fine. Showed up. He had me again, 11 years old. He's got me dusting shoes, arranging boxes.
Yeah.
Just the normal 11-year-old stuff.
Yeah. Stupid little shit that has to get done that nobody wants to do.
Yeah. So I'm working. And I got my first paycheck. I'm like, wow, this is great. $40.
Yeah.
Walk home, got to my house. I go, Dad, I made $40. He goes, great. Takes it from me. He goes, I'm going to start saving it for you. He goes, I look at him like, saving? I'm like,
I want to buy candy and shit.
Right. I want to go buy some new sneakers. He's like, no, I got to show you how to save money, how to respect money. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm 11 years old. Again, I didn't understand it. So I'm working. Now I'm in the neighborhood and I'm seeing all my friends with bikes, new sneakers. And I'm saying to myself, wow. I says, why am I not getting this stuff? A couple of months went by. I wanted to get a bike. I knew I couldn't ask my dad for it, so I had one of my friends ride me up to Methuen. Searching the neighborhood, I seen a bike on the grass. I said, let me get off. Got off, walked over to the bike, jumped on it, rolled out with it. Brought it back to Lawrence, modified it, resold it, and I made my cash.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing growing up, from 11 to 15 years old.
Yeah.
I knew that was wrong, but it was the only way that I was going to be able to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
So one day I said to my dad, I go, Dad, you got to get me a bike. I go, everybody else has got one. I don't have one. So he's like, yeah, I'll get you one. Typical Italian. I get you one. A couple of weeks go by. Shows up with multiple parts to a bike. I'm like, what's this? He's like, it's your bike. I'm going to put it together for you, and you're going to have a bike. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So he puts it together, and I'm like, Dad, it's rusted. He's like, don't worry. Now, this is all in Italian. He's like, don't worry, I got you. I'm like, all right. Now, he was buying and selling Fiats, and he had an extra can of paint. I'm like, oh, perfect. Red. I'm thinking red, gray. He paints it lime green. I still have a picture, and I'll post it, of the lime green Fiat and I'm like, Dad, really? He goes, it's the only paint I had. So I'm like, okay. whatever. So now I'm riding around with a lime green bike. I think I was the first guy to actually have lime green. The Kawasaki green.
Yeah.
It was like that.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, oh my God. Finally, I'm like, this is not happening. So I continue to acquire bikes. I ended up buying myself a bike. My dad goes, hey, how did you get that? I said, well, I sold the bike that you made me, and I bought one from someone else. He was selling it because he bought himself another bike. And he didn't say anything about that. Meanwhile, I'm still working at the shoe store.
Giving them all your money.
Giving them all my money,
Yeah.
thinking, I got to get this money at some point. 15 comes around, 16 comes around. I'm like, wow, this is not good. Now I'm in high school. My friends have cars. I'm like, I got nothing. I'm still waiting for my bike.
Right.
And I knew it wasn't going anywhere. So again, you get into high school, I started experimenting with drugs, marijuana, started doing mask and all that, mushrooms. And I knew it was wrong, but it was the thing that kids were doing. And I started dealing marijuana, and I was making my money there, but I was stashing it, and my father would always see me with new sneakers and stuff, and he'd be like, where are you getting this money? And I'm like, well, I'm buying and selling stuff. Again, typical Italian, they just want to make sure that you're alive, you're going through school, you're getting through school,
right,
and you're doing the right thing. My senior year, my dad moves from Lawrence to Derry, New Hampshire. Now, I'm a Lawrence kid. Grew up there, been around that. Derry, New Hampshire. Back in 85.
A little different.
A lot different. For me, it was a lot different.
It is a lot different.
So I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm in the boonies here. Like, I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
I have to start my senior year at Pinkerton Academy. I'm like, fuck. What do I do? I'm like, dude, I don't know anyone. I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I had to enroll. Went in. First couple of months went well. And I started to make friends. Now, the friends that I knew smoked, and they couldn't get anything. So I'm like, okay, like, if you can get me people to buy, I'll supply the marijuana, because I knew people that would sell it to me. So that's what I did for the longest time throughout my senior year.
Yeah.
And that's how I made my money. And I realized that wasn't the direction I wanted to go, because it was becoming more than that. I was doing a lot more than that for money. Things that I definitely am not going to say online on this podcast.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore, because if I continue to do this, I'm going to end up in prison, and I'm not going to be getting out for a long time.
Right.
So my senior year, graduated, waited another year or two, and then I enlisted into the Marine Corps at the age of 20. I was the oldest guy in my boot camp.
At 20?
At 20.
Yeah.
Everybody was like 18, 19 years old. I was 20.
Yeah.
Did my boot camp, went through boot camp, graduated, came home, went to my tech school. Tech school, came home, and before you know it, I get activated to go into Desert Storm. Now I'm spending my year out in the desert. 20 years old, didn't think I was going to get activated. Got activated to go to war. I'm out there in the desert, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to be home. Did my time, came back. They offered me to re-enlist. I'm like, you ain't gonna get me to re-enlist. It's not happening. Can't do it. So I get out, and I'm like, okay, I love the structure of the military. What am I gonna do moving forward? Do I go back to doing what I was doing before, or do I just find something different? And I get into law enforcement. I started off as a Lawrence auxiliary for maybe 8-9 months.
What's an auxiliary?
Basically what they have you doing, they have you in uniform, but you're not doing any criminal investigations or anything. You're basically directing traffic for church,
Gotcha.
schools and stuff like that,
Yep.
events, just extra bodies.
Yep.
And I'm saying, this is not law enforcement to me. So I got out of that, went into corrections, started working at Valley Street Jail.
Oh yeah.
Did 4.5 years there, and I've seen so much in that jail. I've learned so much from different people being in prison. And it made me respect that. It made me respect that certain people are there for a reason. Some just got a bad rap.
Yeah.
You know, again, Dewey. No need to have people in there. Moving forward, I'm like, I was listening to the same bullshit every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do this. This would drive me crazy. So as I was there working it, I became friends with a lot of federal agents. And I asked a friend of mine, my friend now, I asked him at that time, I go, hey, listen, are you guys hiring? He's like, yeah, we're hiring. I go, what do I do? He goes, just call this number, HR. They'll give you, whatever it is that you need to apply for. So I call him up and go, hey, listen, I heard through one of your employees that you guys are hiring. How do I do it? She goes, if you have a DT-214 and a resume, I'll see what I can do. So I had just gotten home from working a 11 to 7 shift. Got out the typewriter, because that's what we had back in the day. That's how old, please. That's how old I am.
I still have a typewriter.
I know, but that's how old I am, really.
Yeah.
I sound like a Stone Age. So I'm typing up my resume, and I fax it out to this lady. 2 weeks later, she calls me. She goes, hey, I'm going to call you in for an interview. Boom. Went in for my interview. The easiest interview I've ever been for law enforcement. 2 lieutenants, one's Italian, one's Spanish. I show up in a suit. He says to me, you're Italian? I go, yeah. He stays quiet. He goes, do you know you didn't have to drive here? We could have done it on the phone. I'm like, no, I didn't know that. He goes, oh. They both looked at each other. They're like, what do you think? They're like, yeah. He says, you're hired. I'm like, now I'm saying to myself, this is my interview?
Right.
That's it?
I had to put a suit on for this?
Yeah. This is in Boston back in 97. So got hired, started working. And for the last 24 years, I've been working for the Department of Homeland. It was the Department of Justice at the time. And then it converted over to the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11. And my life has been nothing but law enforcement, structured, and just putting bad guys away.
Yeah. So what'd you do for them?
I was an ICE agent.
Oh, cool.
So basically what we do surveillance and go out and apprehend illegal aliens that have committed crimes.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about, do you feel bad arresting an illegal? I go, but we're not arresting illegal. Well, we are arresting illegals, but not illegals. Criminal illegals, yes.
Right.
But not someone
just anyone that's illegal.
Yeah. I mean, there were times where we do a big bust and there's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
We call them collaterals. And we would take them into custody. So working in that, the structure of it, I had some downtime. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, what do I do? Like, I started watching Gary Vee and other influencers and stuff like that. And I'm like, I got to do something that motivates me to continue on doing what I'm doing. And that's when I came up with 06 Reveille. So I started in 2018, and it's been ongoing, off and on. And then COVID hit. And then I stopped doing it because I'm like, am I fooling myself?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, T-shirt. But then I changed it over, and I started to create more of a mindset for myself, for other people, for my kids. And it started to pick up traction. And then the love for it started to come back. And now I'm at a point where I want to try to get it out as much as I possibly can to all my veteran brothers and sisters who are struggling within themselves, wanting to commit suicide or just going the opposite direction, drinking, excessive drinking, drugs, because they feel like no one's, after coming back from whatever conflict that they're in, that there's no one there for them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do now. I teamed up with a friend of mine. Her name is Renee. She has she's a PR director. She's my director of marketing. She's part owner of the business. And she's got a lot of connections and contacts with the veteran foundations and stuff like that. She's got her own. So we're trying to create some type of foundation. I mean, some type of way that we can introduce the brand into her foundation and bring it out to the veterans across the country.
Yep.
And that's where we're at now. She kind of nominated me to get onto, it's called Operation Healing Heroes, which is going to be on the Discovery Channel. And that's the direction we're going to go. So I'm hoping that once we get on that it kind of opens the doors up more for the brand and the mission. The mission is, like, I just want people to understand that you don't have to be home drowning yourself in booze and think that there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
I'm my phone's always open. Call me anytime you want.
Yeah, it's so fucking sad that the statistics for men and women coming home from overseas with suicides and drug and alcohol abuse, like, and I feel like there's more and more spotlight on that. There's more and more information on that, and a lot of people out there trying to help and stuff. And of course, like, everybody wants to help, everybody wants to do something. It's just crazy how fast that all happened and how bad it is and how it's just getting worse and worse. And it's not even just, active military coming home. It's, first responders and anybody that's in that line of work. It's just, it's saturated right now with drug and alcohol use and suicide. And it's terrible. It's sad, man. We just had a guest on. He went through the same thing, had some issues, ended up going to rehab, and came out and started a woodworking business and started woodworking. And he kind of found his purpose in woodworking. Now has a YouTube channel and is trying to teach other people how to do woodworking and stuff, which I love that. I had a guy that used to work for me. He was EOD in the Marines, and I did everything to try and help him. He worked for me for a while. But, he just had his issues, man. He couldn't put the bottle down, and it's like trying to run a business and operate. I mean, I should have fired him 15 times. I never did. He ended up leaving. I hooked him up with people because I have a lot of people in that realm to be able to help with drug and alcohol use, and, just never took the help. But it was like he did so much good for the country, did so much good for, other people in the military. Was always the first person to help anybody else, but just couldn't help himself, and it's like, it's just so sad to watch, man.
It's tough. I mean, once you're out there in conflict, I mean, everybody has their own story. I mean, I remember nights having to drive from here to Montreal with a load of ammo. It was 5 hours worth of driving, and then get there at midnight when the war actually started, the ground war started, and the guy there, or whoever it was that was in charge, says to me, he goes, "We can't unload you tonight." He goes, "The ground war started, and you're going to have to stay the night. So you're going to have to go, park your truck over there and stay the night." And I'm like, what? Again, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I can't leave. I can't come home. So I parked my vehicle, my truck, and pulled out my sleeping bag, sat up on top of my ammo, and fell asleep there. Because I'm saying to myself, if anything's going to happen, I'm going to go. I mean, this ammo dump was humongous. Yeah. It's like going into Home Depot and having different aisles.
Well, if shit pops off, at least you got ammo.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, coming back from that, and seeing the things that I've seen there, coming back from that, it's a mental fuck. It's a mind fuck for you.
Yeah.
And then you come back here to this. I had the hardest time during the 4th of July, just hearing, fireworks go off. It took me almost 3 years to get that mindset. Every once in a while, the smell of like diesel or a certain smell kind of brings me back. But I kind of control it. And when I'm feeling down and I'm feeling like, okay, I need time to myself, I go and make sure it kind of relaxes me. And I know that I'm doing it for a reason. There's a mission behind it. A purpose.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because like so you're active in the military, you have your mission, you have your purpose, right? And that's all you're pursuing the entire time you're in. And it's like, conflict and the things that you see, there's so much going on that, that's what you're used to. And then, you're active military overseas on Monday, and then you're just a civilian on Tuesday. And it's like, now what do I do?
Right.
And I think that finding that purpose is just so damn important. And I feel like that's the lack, of them. A lot of people coming from conflict and active military, that they just have a hard time finding that new purpose, but the ones that do seem to do really well, because it's like they know how to put everything into pursuing a purpose. And once they find that thing, tend to do pretty well.
Right. And again, I feel bad. There's a lot of people that I know that were in the military that committed suicide. I lost one of my good brothers during the conflict. I mean, those things there, like I said, they were mindfuck. And then coming back and seeing a lot of my friends die to drugs. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to kind of restart a lot of I'm trying to restart their brain to say to themselves, there's more to it. And if I can do it, they can do it.
Yep.
It's just that push. A lot of people just don't either get lazy or they're like, nah, I'm making a perfect paycheck.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the money that I make. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I want to continue on. I'm 57. If it doesn't go anywhere, this brand, it helped me.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me the most. That it helped me, help the people around me, the people that I do reach, it helped them.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not God, and I can't help everybody, but I'm trying to spread the word with the brand and my mental mindset that I have. Again, like I said, you see me on Facebook, I try to keep it cool. I try to keep it like, hey, you got drive, do it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody needs that like inspiration, and people need to have somebody to look up to and have that spark. But I feel like regardless, even if you're not lazy, you're the hardest worker in the room. If you don't have a purpose, if you're not after something, if you're not actively pursuing something, then it just goes to waste.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I push my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter's 27, my son's 25. I push them. I go, you're not going to this country's not going to give it to you. If you think the country's going to give it to you on just because you're here, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You have to go after it.
Yeah.
And they understand it and they see it. They're starting to understand it more. And me working till today shows them that, hey, you got to get it done.
Yeah. What are you doing now with the brand? Like, where is the brand at? I mean, can you go on and buy shirts right now, or what? And are you going to try and do like e-commerce and make sales online?
Yeah.
Are you going to try and do like, trying to get into stores? Like, what is the plan?
The plan is we just got an LLC, so we're able to accept credit cards now.
Yep.
My web designer is on vacation, and when she gets back, she's going to put that together. I mean, the website is up and running, but you can't purchase anything online. So people reach out to me, and I do it through Facebook.
Yep.
But once it gets going, people can just go online and buy it. I'm always come up with a new design to add to it, just so it doesn't show just a T-shirt and a hoodie.
Yeah.
My direction that I want to go to is, like I said to you earlier, I want to get it out to military commissaries with that mission, get it out and help other veteran foundations with that mission, and hopefully get it to a point where I don't have to do it myself. I have others doing it for me, but still be on the background searching other foundations that are starting, or that have been doing it for a while, and introducing myself to them and making them see what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, that whole network of people, tend to like to help other people.
Very tight.
Very, very tight. Yeah. And they're always looking to support each other and stuff. I think that's great. We did some work, or we actually started doing some work for a company called Veterans Northeast Outreach.
Yep.
They have a couple of different homes for displaced veterans. They need actually some work done at one of their places, and we're talking about doing a couple kitchens and maybe putting together like a kind of like a fundraiser, put together a fundraiser for it, and try and raise some money to do the renovations over there. We have a ton of contractors and subs that are willing to kind of put in some of the work for free. I'm going to try and get the cabinets at a discounted rate, do that type of thing and see if we can help update this place. But they have like, I think it was like 10 or 11 different houses kind of all over the Northeast, be a good place for stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good people to get in with too. You know, so if you start selling shirts, I mean, so you're looking to start or find a foundation that you can maybe donate to. Is that the plan, or what is the plan?
Well, we have a foundation called Salute to American Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to funnel it through that.
Yep.
And kind of grow it.
Yep.
Like I said, my partner Renee, she has other contacts that she knows in that world, and that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're getting it out there. Like I said, so I'm going out in June to film something similar to this, but it's going to be on Operation Healing Heroes. So basically, they're going to be asking me questions just like you are, and they're going to just create some type of like little thing that they do for their show.
Yep.
It's a military. It's give back to the military.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've known a lot of people that are doing stuff like that. There's a company, actually, I was wearing their shirt, Till Valhalla.
Yep.
Have you heard of that?
Yep, I have.
Which I thought was a really cool story because the guy came home from overseas, lost a buddy, wanted to make him an American flag and made this like little wood American flag just kind of in memory of his buddy, and then kind of felt selfish keeping it. So he wanted to give it to like the mother or the girlfriend or the wife or whatever. And then people started asking him to make these flags, and he started making these flags and realized he didn't have enough money to make the flags. So he started making T-shirts and then started selling T-shirts to make money so that he could make these flags. And now it's turned into like this big company, which is awesome.
I just did a shirt for a mom. I want to say she's in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure. No, Georgia. Her son died in one of the conflicts. So she's a Gold Star family. So I basically designed the shirt, Zero Six Reveille, but instead of having a star in the middle, it has a Gold Star medal in place of the star.
I love that.
With the son's name, date of birth, day that he passed, and the conflict.
I love that. And
we sent it to her because she's going to be on she's coming down to Renee's event down in Clearwater, Florida. They wrote a song about her son. And so it's going to be, it's a big to-do event down in Clearwater, Florida on August 17th. And we made that shirt for her. I sent it out to her. She loves it. She's going to wear it the day of the event.
I love that.
And that's the direction. I mean, that's going to be part of what I want to do. So if there's any Gold Star families out there that want to just have a personal T-shirt made, just reach out to me.
Yeah.
And I can hook them up. I can help them and do it. It means more to me because I was in the military. Again, not to down anybody else, but I'm just saying it just means more to me because I was a military guy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I could see that. I could see the pain in the mother.
Yeah. So what about like taking donations? Are you guys going to be doing that through the foundation?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that would be cool. Because then you can get like people to really kind of back you, and throw some money into it, so that when you do have families like that, Gold Star families or whatever the cause is, be able to make families for T-shirts for the whole family or something.
That's our game plan.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
the direction that we're going. Eventually, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part so far?
Getting the name out there.
Yeah, the branding.
Yep.
Branding, marketing, all that stuff.
Just like anything else. I mean, and I know.
Yeah. Once
your friends in the outside circle of your friends are done buying.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh shit, now what do I do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm not at that point yet.
Yeah.
Because I still get a lot of repeat customers, which is great. And I love that they support the mission. It's getting beyond that outer circle and getting them to see what my mission's all about and them actually liking it. Just like all the other apparels that are out there.
Yeah.
Nine Line, Grunt Style.
Yeah.
They're out there. People buy it. But mine has a special mission to it. And I want them to see the mission, not the apparel.
Yeah.
I want them to see exactly what I'm trying to do. And that's help all my military brothers and sisters who come back and who are hurting but are afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
Because they have this respect for themselves.
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting I had PTSD.
Yeah.
It took me a while to come out and say it. But I'm here now. I'm doing good. I feel a lot more, I feel better. And, I just want people to know that if you have it, everybody has it, whether you're a rape victim, child abuse, we all have our story. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting it out there and just having people see the mission and not just the apparel.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
How far do you want to take it? Just as big as you can make it?
As far as I can go. As long as I'm standing on this earth, that's how far I want it to go.
Yeah, I love that. So what types of apparel? So you obviously doing t-shirts, you said hoodies, doing hats, that type of stuff too?
I just ordered my hats, so they'll be coming in about 2 weeks. I want to do everything.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to get crazy. T-shirts, hoodies, zip-ups,
Yeah.
snapbacks,
Tank tops.
tank tops,
But
coffee mugs.
not getting into like underwear and thongs.
Hey,
and
listen.
maybe some bras or something.
If the market is out there and someone wants to wear it, why not, right?
Yeah.
I've seen some crazy shit out there, so why not?
Yeah. Make some bras and you can be like,
Yeah.
we support more than the cause.
Yeah.
You know? Be perfect. John,
I like that.
John likes that.
Yeah. He's like, I could buy something for my girlfriend.
So when you are buying your shirts, right? So talk to me about that process. So in apparel, you're having somebody that's making the t-shirts, making the hats, making whatever, they send them to you blank. And then what is your process from that? Or are they making them and sending them to you?
So the snapbacks, I'm having them embroidered, so I'm subbing it out.
Yep.
Just because I don't have an embroidery.
Yeah.
When it comes to the t-shirts, I make them myself. So I buy the decal, the heat transfer, because that's that new line now. Everybody's going to heat transfers.
Yep.
Instead of this old school screen printing.
Yep.
And I make them at home. I have a room set up just like this, and I just, as the orders come in, I make them and I hammer them out. I'm a customer service dude, so when it comes in, I want to get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
There are times I can't because the vendor that I buy from, it's going to take you 3 days, and if you want it soon, it's going to cost you $30 to get it overnight.
Right.
I might as well not be in the business.
Right.
$30. Again, I'm not making no money. Really, when you lay it down, I'm not really making money from it.
Yep.
I don't have a problem spending the money to get the name out.
Yep.
Free shipping. It's really the ROI. It's not. It doesn't make sense. If I sat down with you and told you what, you'd be like, "Wow, you're losing money."
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Well, it's also an investment, right?
It's an
Hoping that
investment,
it takes off and
but like
does something.
but they say it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to put into it
Yeah.
in order for me to get to the end version of what I want to do. So I make them, pack them, ship them out myself.
Yeah. What about doing like events? Was setting up like an event for veterans and stuff. So like there's this company or this program, Swim with a Mission, I think it's called. And what they do is they have this swim set up, and it's like a mile-long swim, right? And I forget where it is. I start one point, swim to the other, and it's like all veterans, but they have like a clothing line, and they'll just set up this huge event where there's like food and a bunch of other stuff, and then they have people that are making this swim, and then they have people out on the water making sure nobody drowns and stuff. But then they'll do like paintball events to like raise money to support the mission, but they make clothes, they do a whole bunch of different things. And every event, I've been to 2 of their events. I went to a paintball and I went to one of the swims, hugely attended. And it seems like they do pretty well as like far as an organization goes, and it helps get the word out, gets people out there.
Well, that's where we're at now, because now we're getting inquiries on certain like foundations that are out there.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing like gift baskets, putting my brand in there, donate it to them so they can raffle it off and make money for themselves, for the foundation.
Yep.
So that's where we're at now. And, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And I, something like that would be perfect.
Yeah.
There's so many out there.
Yeah, it's a ton.
So
I'm doing my first 5K in June down in Ipswich, and it's like a veteran-run organization, and they do this huge 5K every year. It raises a ton of money for disabled vets.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I got a client invited me. He's like, "Hey, have you ever done this? You run?" I'm like, sometimes I try. And he's like, "Oh, we got this 5K," and he like sent me the link, and I was like, "That's fucking perfect. Never done a 5K before. This would be a great spot to start." You know?
We're gonna try to set up a lot of tables. Rent out the tables at certain events like that.
Yeah.
And have some stuff out
That's
on
a
the
good
table to carry so much stuff around nowadays when you can just order it online.
Yeah.
I can have the basics out there, and if they like it, there's a QR code. They can just order it right there,
Yep.
and it'll be shipped out to them.
Yeah.
Because once we go down, like I said, once I go to Clearwater, Florida, I don't want to bring this big container of
Clothes and stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
I'll have the basics of what I sell.
Yep.
QR code them, have the tent up, tablecloth out, and do my thing.
Yeah.
And
Dude, QR codes are fucking where it's at.
It is.
QR codes have been around for so long, but COVID made them so much more accessible, and people know how to use them all now. We use them for everything. I have them on my business cards. So like my business card, you scan the QR code, brings up an entire landing page, has my name, my businesses, my contact info, and then you set a button and it saves it right to your phone. We have QR codes for when people check in at my showroom. We have QR codes for referrals. We have QR codes for everything. QR codes have like made a huge difference in businesses.
Right. We just did that on our business cards, put the QR code in the back.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's perfect.
Well, you got to figure, like I don't throw away my cards, but what I do is when I go to events, I bring my cards home and I actually just lay them all on my table and I take a picture of them all and I throw them away. And then I just, because I have because I'm going to fucking lose them. They end up in my gym bag. They end up in my fucking junk drawer. They end up in my binder. They end up in my desk. Like then I have just cards everywhere. So I just take a picture of them and then.
Are you talking about yours or theirs?
Theirs, the people that I
same
network
thing I
with.
do.
Yeah.
It's easier that way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like business cards are great and everybody should have them, but nobody keeps them. So like you got to give them something to take away from the business card, which is why I think the QR codes are perfect.
My business partner, she carries all of them around. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need them.
Yep.
I mean, you need them, but leave them at home.
Yeah.
Like we go to different events, and you know, to make contacts, new people and stuff like that. So it's just, I'm like, what are you doing with all that?
Yeah. Yeah. All I do now
Take pictures.
I bring like 3 or 4 with me.
Yeah.
And then like when I go to events and if somebody's like, hey, do you get a card? I'll just have them just scan the QR code. You still have the people that don't know how to use a fucking QR code. So like I have a couple that I hand out, but most of the time I just, take my QR and they just.
There's people out there. There's people out there that still can't use the phone.
Yeah, truth.
You know, so
Yeah.
you got to walk them through it. Got to have to walk them through it.
Yeah, but at least now with like because of COVID and everybody had the QR menus and shit, like most people know how to use the QR reader, which is sweet. And then everybody's phone's already set up with it. You don't have to download an app or nothing. Like your camera's just ready to do it.
Well, overall, it's exciting. You know, just even to be here and talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one step closer to getting other people to see it.
Yeah.
You know, your crowd or your audience, they might see it or they might say, hey, I know somebody that thinks that way, or I have a military friend that feels that way.
Yep.
I'm just going to buy him a hoodie for whatever.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, T-shirt, you know, and he can jump on my site, he can read my mission, and it'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's cool because you get to do something for, like, if you know somebody, like you have a buddy that came back from active service and you know that they're struggling, everybody wants to do something for them. And it's cool when you can have something made by another veteran that has a mission, you know, it just feels good. You know, I had a military buddy who was struggling and good dude, smoked a lot of pot. Right. And I have a friend that blows glass. So I ended up having her make him a little pipe out of glass. And it like had it was the Eagle Globe anchor on the little fucking glass piece. It was badass. Yeah. You know, it's like you do those little special things for those people, you know, T-shirts, swag, that type of stuff is just, it's something, you know. So with the website, you don't have the e-commerce set up yet. You're going to have that set up soon.
That's going to be set up soon.
So if somebody did want to buy a T-shirt, they reach out via social media?
Yep,
That's
correct.
the idea. Yep. Nice.
It should be up in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, this is school vacation for the kids. And, you know, I'm not going to be down on somebody to get it done.
I'd find somebody else, but...
Yes and no. No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Thought about it.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm a little quick to act.
I am too.
You know.
I'm impulsive.
Yeah. And I want people to be the same way. That's why I love John. I could literally text John at like 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and he'd be like, answer me right away. He works just like I do. It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. His wife is also my lead designer, so if I do that, then she also gives me shit. So I have to kind of be careful.
It's easy to just blame Frank. You know?
Yeah.
It's Frank's fault.
Yeah, it's Frank's fault. That's all right.
I blame it on Frank.
Yeah, why not? I'll take it. It would be better if she didn't work for me, because then like she can actually stab me if she wants to, you know.
A lot of blurred lines right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what else? So, as far as the Fed work that you were doing the ICE stuff. How do you feel about what's going on with ICE and all that stuff now? I mean, obviously it's a different world right now than it was when you were in.
Well, when I was in, Trump was in office as well.
Yeah, he wasn't as active.
He wasn't as he is now.
As he is now with the illegals.
I think they're doing a great job. I think it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's people out there don't like it, but in reality, it's either it gets done or we just get overrun by it.
Right.
And don't complain when your taxes and everything else goes up because of it.
Right.
And when I first got into the job itself, it was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you're arresting someone and they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
You're arresting someone in front of a mother, a wife, kids, and they're crying.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of shake that off. So it gets to a point where I'm like, I was callous to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's the funny thing is that we call them illegals, right? Literally, it's illegal to do what they're doing.
Right.
But it's almost like it's just a word. It's just a name. People don't really put any weight into the fact that what they're doing is illegal. They're here illegally. It's illegal. It's against the law.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I know guys who are here illegally, and I know guys that went through the process to be here legal. And it sucks because some of the guys that I know that are here illegally are some of the fucking hardest working dudes I know.
But those are the ones that we don't have a problem with.
Right.
While you're here doing that,
do what you have to
go through the process of getting done the right way.
Right.
We're not looking for that.
Right.
We're looking for those guys that are selling fentanyl to your kids.
Yeah.
Guys that are robbing you or robbing whoever just to make their lives better.
Right.
I mean, it's funny because I've arrested some, I don't want to say Major League Baseball players, but they were farm league major players, baseball players, for the Padres or to the Texas Rangers. But when you interview them, you're asking them why. And they're like, I'm spending what I'm making. I'm not making much. So whatever I'm making, I'm sending back to my country.
Yeah.
I get it. But you have a career here.
Right.
Do it right.
Yeah.
How are you going to move to that next level, whether it's Major League?
Right.
Now you just fucked it up for yourself.
Right.
So,
and you're making your life more difficult.
It is.
It's a process, and going through the process takes some time. But if you can just get through that process, and there's no reason for you not to be accepted into the country, then why not just do it? And then it's weight. I couldn't imagine having that weight on my shoulders. Can you imagine? You have a full-time job here, you have a career here, you have a family here, but at any minute you can get picked up and deported and not be allowed back for the next 10 years. Can you imagine that? That's just so much weight on you. Go through the process, get it done. So you're here legal and you can do your thing. That's the hope of this country, right? You can come here and make your living. There's freedoms. Do it legally, and then have at it.
I think this time around, with everything that happened with the prior administration, they just let everybody in. So I think what he's trying to do is put a big Band-Aid on this.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to get everybody. Again, like he says, he wants to get rid of the criminals. You see it on TV. He's getting rid of gang members and stuff like that. People are bitching because they're being transferred to the CCART down in El Salvador. I've been down to El Salvador. I've been to a lot of these countries overseas. I get it, but it has to get done.
Yeah.
We're just getting overwhelmed with a lot of criminals.
Yeah.
That are trying to take over certain communities.
Yeah.
And if we don't stop it, who's going to do it?
Right. Yeah. And if you put a big welcome sign up and just let everybody in, then it's just going to get worse and worse.
The thing that bothers me the most is Massachusetts does. They're more a sanctuary, so they give things away to a lot of the illegals, right? But then you have the other side where you have veterans in Massachusetts that are living on the street, but they're giving these individuals housing,
right?
But not even thinking about the homeless veterans that we have, and that's what gets my goat. And that's the thing that I would like to see change. but it's never going to change it because it's money.
Yeah. Well, it's money and votes.
Money isn't votes.
You know.
And hopefully it changes with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like he's doing a great job. I mean, I've met Tom Homan.
Yeah.
He used to come down to the Boston district all the time. Great guy.
Yeah.
He has been the way he is now on TV since the day I met him.
That dude's on a mission. That dude has a purpose. He's out there making it
He
happen.
is. And he's not taking no shit from any of these people because, I mean, again, there's law in place. I don't care whether you're Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. You're not going to supersede federal law.
Yep.
And Trump shows it.
Yep.
You want to fuck with us, then we'll just hold back on funding.
Right.
And let's see how long you're going to be able to do this.
Unless you want to play ball.
Unless you want to play ball.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of them just, at that point, have no choice.
Yeah.
You know, unless you want to take in a couple of illegal aliens and keep them at your house.
And hide them in your basement.
Have them work for free.
Well, I mean, there's a couple judges that have been caught doing that.
But it's horrible.
But the thing is, it's like, all right, so a federal judge is holding a couple of illegal aliens at his house. There's a reason, right? And I would like to think that that federal judge has a reason, right? Like a good, positive reason. Like he feels as though these are good people and they deserve a shot here, and hopefully would be helping them to go through the process to become legal, something like that. I would hope.
But not those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys are gang members.
Yeah.
Those are
Right.
Those are the guys.
Those guys are different.
Yeah, those are the guys that will shoot you and
Right.
and then take your wallet and walk away and just leave you there bleeding.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if it was just some dude that just came here illegally and didn't have a place to stay, okay,
Of course.
yeah,
Right.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, hard workers.
The hard workers, yeah. And that's the thing. Most of those guys will outwork anybody I know.
Anybody
I know.
all day.
And if they just, would do it the right way, they could make a hell of a living. We have a guy that works for my buddy Sam, and he came here, got himself legal, and, he owns like 4 or 5 pieces of property. He's got a construction company, finished carpenter, like absolutely killing it. And like, that's the American dream. Like, that's why people come here, and I fucking love that. And so many of these guys, because of how hard they work and how detailed they are and how much pride they take in what they're doing, they could fucking kill it here,
I arrested a guy from Brazil. Went into his house. We arrested him, took it into custody. And he goes, do me a favor. He goes, can you go into my refrigerator and grab me my money? And I'm like, grab your money in the refrigerator? I'm like, sure, why not? So I opened up the refrigerator. He's like, no, in the freezer. I'm like, okay. I opened it up. He goes, you got to go in the back. So I pulled out the stuff that he had in the front. And it was like stacks of money wrapped up in aluminum foil to make it look like it was steak.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, what are you doing with this stuff? He goes, well, I hide it here because I can't put it in the bank. He goes, because I'm not here legally. I go, what are you going to do with that? He goes, well, I send it back Western Union to my family in Brazil, and they do what they need to do with it because they're like building a house or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. So what happens with that? What do you end up doing with that?
The money?
Yeah.
It goes into his property.
Goes into his property.
Yeah. So it gets, again, like evidence bag. It gets all signed off. It gets logged into a system. And then he goes through the process. We'll keep him in custody until he goes to court. The judge hears his case. If he gets ordered deported, he gets to take it home.
Awesome.
If he gets released, he gets to take it. It doesn't belong to us. He worked for it.
Yeah.
What happens in between that? I mean, if a lawyer gets him for 10 G's, then he's going to have to pull a couple of steaks out.
Couple of sausages.
A couple of sausages. Yeah. Here you go. But some of these attorneys, they're thieves.
Yeah.
They see it and they're dominating, or they're making that money from that because they're like, they know they're going to be able to, they know they're getting deported.
Yeah.
But they're not going to tell them that.
Yeah. They're going to show them hope.
Yeah. They're going to say, hey,
give me some money. I'll get you to stay.
Give me 10 grand as a retainer.
Those are fucking sharks, dude. I'd say fucking deport them,
and
too.
those they're out there.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand. I know. I've seen it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I know plenty of attorneys that got disbarred for doing that.
Yeah. It's fucking garbage.
Corruption.
And that's the thing, man. Like, no matter what trade or what industry you're in, there's fucking good people and there's bad people.
There is.
There's good illegals and there's bad illegals,
I tell everybody this all the time. If Europe was connected to the East Coast, you would have an influx of people coming in, just like the Mexicans are.
Yeah.
The Central America. Let's just say that. I don't want to just single out one nationality. they come up through South America.
Yeah.
So if you had Europe connected to Massachusetts all the way down to Florida,
Yeah. Can you imagine?
can you imagine how many people would be coming over?
Truth.
So you can't blame them. It's just an avenue for them to come into the United States illegally because it takes too long to get into the United States legally.
Right.
There's guys that have deported 5-6 times, and I've seen them over and over again. And I'm like, dude, we had one guy that we removed to, I want to say Santo Domingo. He was back in the United States before we even got back.
Holy shit.
Because we go to Santo Domingo, we can either stay there or lay over in Miami. And the majority of us used to come back to Miami. So it wasn't a long leg back the next day. Dude must have had a ticket already. He had paperwork already ready to come back.
Damn.
And he got picked up like a couple of weeks later.
Holy shit.
It's silly.
And that's the thing. Like, if you make it that easy, though, you know what I mean?
Well,
if you make it that easy, then they're just going to keep going.
Well, hopefully now with the way things are going now, like the self-deport. I mean, take the hit, self-deport, and do it the right way.
Do it the right way. But it's also tough because you got to think about the other side of it too, like where they're going back to. There's a reason they left, and it's like, it's tough. I mean, I try to be empathetic. If you, like I always say, if where I started in life, right? That I did everything I could to get away from that lifestyle, right? And I've just been running from that ever since, trying to get better and better myself and, better my businesses and better all this stuff so I can get away from that. It would suck if one day someone was like, you did that illegally, you got to go back here, and it's like, fuck, you got to start all over and like go through that whole process. And I can see it. And then, back there's a lot of, gang activity, and who knows, maybe that person owes them money. They're fucking could be dead if they go back. Like, it sucks, but, How long is the process? How long does it take to actually come across legally?
I'll be honest with you. No, legally, I don't know. Illegally, I don't know.
Couple hours.
Couple hours. But it takes
how fast you can run.
But it's a long. I mean, the process alone, just to stay in the United States now, it's forever and a day.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you bullshitted somebody and said, "Hey, I don't want to go back because I'm politically, affiliated with so and so," they go through interview after interview after interview, and then they call back and have to confirm that stuff, like the adjudicators. If that story doesn't even make sense, they'll just deny them. My job, what I did for the most part, I worked in a criminal alien program. So basically what I did was I'd go into a prison, I'd get a list of all foreign nationals, I'd go through it, and then I'd interview them one by one and try to get an understanding of how they came into the United States. There were guys with Dominicans pretending to be Puerto Rican, and I would interview those. Doing it for 24 years. I know a Dominican accent and I know a Puerto Rican accent. So when I'm sitting in front of you and you're telling me you're Puerto Rican, but when I know you're Dominican, I'll play the game with you, So I would set up my computer while I'm talking to them. I'd be emailing the Puerto Rican police department and saying, hey, I have so-and-so. Here's the name, social. Can you let me know what's going on with this guy? He'd be like, yeah, here he is. Sends me a picture of who it is, date of birth, social. I'd say to the guy, I go, dude, I'm going to give you one opportunity to tell me who you are. I go, after that, I'm going to walk away if you lie to me, and I'm going to prosecute you for falsifying identity. He's like, no, I'm Puerto Rican, blah, blah, blah. I grew up here. I used to draw a map, a map of Puerto Rico, and I used to tell them, tell me where the capital is.
Good call.
They don't fucking know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one strike right there in my head. So I said, so you're telling me this is who you are? He's like, yep. I go, what's your social? He goes, he gives it to me. What's your date of birth? He gives it to me because they study it. I said, you sure? He goes, yeah. So I have my computer laptop in front of me. I spin it around. I go, see that guy's picture right there? That's you. Or is that not you? And you could just see that sunken face. It's like, oh, fuck, he got me.
Yeah.
So now they're like, okay, what do? I don't want to go back to my country. And I say, okay, work with us. We'll work with you and go from there. And we had guys on the street snitching, like CIs.
Yeah.
And they get paid for it.
Yeah, it's great.
They're making good money.
Yeah. Is there a guarantee that they get in legally when their contract is up or
Negative.
Sort of negative?
No.
No guarantee.
They think that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, there is no guarantee.
Right.
You can continue to, as long as you're producing, there's no guarantee. The only guarantee is that you're gonna be one more day in the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think the odds are? What are the statistics of guys that do that and end up staying?
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. You give these guys an opportunity to make money and still be in the United States. They're making big money.
Yeah.
Depending on the load, they're making good money. They're getting paid.
Yeah.
But the minute you fuck up and you decide that we're not watching you,
Yeah.
but we're watching you, and then you got when you have another snitch or another CI working with a CI, but the CI doesn't know that CI is a CI,
Right.
and he comes back to us and says, "Hey, do you know the so-and-so is dealing drugs?" That's one thing we tell them not to do,
Yeah.
and they do it
Yeah.
because they think they can put one over on us.
Yeah.
It's the best ones are the ones that say, "It's not my stuff." What are you talking about? We've been watching you for 6 months, 7 months. We just woke up this morning and said, "Hey, let's go."
I think
bust.
that's yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's silly,
Yeah.
And then when you go into a house in Methuen, and guys got TV cameras everywhere, TVs in every room. I go, "Dude, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah, I live in Methuen, the borderline Lawrence and Methuen. So much criminal activity. I just want to make sure my stuff is not." But meanwhile, we know why we're there.
Right.
We get a dog. He comes in, sniffs out where the load is, and it was a cabinet. I don't think it was one that you made,
I hope not.
but it was a cabinet. It was like a fig cabinet.
Oh, it's
Just hit the button. It kind of unlatches it, and right behind the drywall was like fentanyl.
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I had an opportunity to make concealed furniture. So more for concealing firearms than narcotics, but it was kind of a cool concept, something I always wanted to get into, like coffee tables and chairs and shit, conceal, because you can do some pretty cool shit.
I've seen
Hopefully
some online.
nobody sells drugs with them, but
Yeah, I've seen some online, and I guess you could probably make a lot of money doing that
yeah.
if you did that for drugs.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get in with some cartels. But
Yeah.
I'll build your fucking furniture. I'll build your cabinet.
That'll be a whole house. Hey, where were you when? What was it? Who was the drug dealer way back in the day? Not El Chapo. What was the other dude? Oh man, I can't remember him. It's the first dude. He got busted. I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he had so much money he couldn't even transfer it back to Colombia.
Yeah.
He'd have it in houses. He'd buy houses and just put them in the
Stack
drywall.
money.
Stack them in the drywall.
Crazy. Can you imagine having that problem?
I wish I did.
Right? I got so much money, I got to buy a house to store it.
But there's people out there right now that probably have these houses, right? Because they get
no
seized,
idea.
have no idea it's in the wall unless they do some rehab
Yeah.
or
Imagine that.
remodeling.
Fucking rehab in the kitchen, millions to start falling out of your wall.
I wouldn't say anything.
Me either.
No.
Me either. I'd build my cabinets
Yeah.
with a bunch of concealed compartments in it, hide the rest of that shit.
I would say, that's why I say that all the time. I'm like, if that was me, no, you ain't going to see me.
Yeah.
I ain't calling no law enforcement, and I'm not calling the news. I'm going
Right.
to say, keep your mouth quiet.
Yeah.
Let's live life now.
Yeah.
The corruption in me too
Yeah. Yeah.
brings me back to when I was young.
It's funny, dude, when you're talking about stealing bikes. We used to steal bikes too when we were younger, like 8, 9 years old. I had a dude down in Lawrence would buy a bike, $15 a piece. It didn't matter what kind of bike.
Well, back then, crime wasn't really that bad.
No.
So, I mean, you walk into Methuen, you're always seeing a bike outside.
Right.
And
I
I'm
was
like,
in southern New Hampshire, so it was even better, you know.
I mean, growing up in Lawrence was just, I mean, I've heard some episodes that you talked to with Eric.
Yeah.
And he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Lawrence itself, horrible.
Yeah, it was
now it's just crazy. You go through there now, I'm like, more windows are up,
Yeah.
doors are locked.
It's funny because they're trying so hard to like clean that area up. Like downtown, man, it's pretty. Like they're putting in nice restaurants, they're putting in some like nice condos, and it's like
By the mills.
by the mills.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that area is like starting to look nice. But Jesus, you go 2 fucking blocks down, man. It's like
You'll never see it.
yeah, no.
You'll never see that. And I always say, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like every 10 or 15 years it moves up into the next town,
Yeah.
into the next town, into the next town.
I mean, I grew up in Salem. I call it North Lawrence. You know.
Because it is.
Right.
I mean, I like Salem, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking, I can't stand Salem anymore, man. Every time I go back there, I'm like, fuck, I hate this place.
The cops are crazy down there.
Yeah.
I call them the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I have friends that are cops there, so I always call them Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a tough town to be a fucking cop in. Like, I wouldn't want to be a cop in Salem.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're bordering Lawrence, so
Right.
you're getting a lot of trash.
Yep. And trying to keep that at bay.
Yeah.
Like, literally just fucking shields trying to keep that shit at bay.
Yeah.
You know, luckily, like with what they've done with Tuscan and stuff, kind of cleaned up a lot of that area and is making it a little bit more upper class, you know, so at least that cancer doesn't continue to spread past that point. But
You're doing a good job.
yeah, I think so too, man.
I like it.
I'm glad that he ended up doing all that stuff. It's funny they'd been talking about that for years before it happened.
And I heard they're opening up a casino there, too,
Yeah, I heard that too.
right at the mall.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, man. That whole dude, I mean, I grew up running through over there. Like, we used to steal chromies off of cars in that parking lot at the racetrack. Like, I ran from the cops multiple times in that parking lot. Like, now I go over there, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, again, it's experiences that we've all been through.
Yeah, for sure,
I can
man.
sit here with anybody. I know they've done something stupid as a kid.
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 57 now. I mean, I was 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, we've all done something stupid.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good. I think it's good to remember. That's where I came from.
I tell my kids all the time, I go, if it wasn't that I went into the military, I'd be just getting out of prison.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I've done.
Yeah.
Now, I'll keep it off the podcast.
Perfect. Don't need any boys rolling in here
No.
cuffing us both. All right, man. Let's talk toolbox tips. So, you know, obviously you've been in a couple of different industries, a couple of different directions. You know, what is that advice that you know now that you would have gave to yourself at 20 years old?
Not spend money.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Can we go back to your dad's story? Did he ever give you the money back? He saved all your money for
Yeah,
you.
back then they had, I don't know if you remember, they have like passport bank.
Yeah.
Banks, like bank books.
Yep.
And he used to show me every week what I had in there. It's like, hey, look what you got. You got 100. Hey, look what you got. You got 200. He ended up giving it to me at some point. I want to say maybe when I was 16 or something like that, 17 years old, like to put towards a car.
Yeah.
But again, it's $40 a week. There's nothing. I'm not making anything. It's not like the interest was making me a millionaire.
Right. I thought there was going to be a good story at the end. Your dad was like putting it all in like some bond or something, and you made like tens of thousands of dollars.
My old man, he worked 3 jobs. I never really spent any time with my father growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you do?
He was he worked at Raytheon. He was a maintenance machinist there.
Love that.
But in between that, he's working 2 other jobs to put food on the table, buy presents and stuff like that. I never really had that father.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not taking anything away from my father. I love my father, and I know how hard he worked to get where he is today.
Yep.
So I try to bring that to my kid. I try to show him. I go, listen, I don't want to be my dad. I want to be in your life. I want to show you what you need to know. So when you're at my age, you get the world by the balls.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And it's sad because, you know, how I grew up, but I understand it now.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't understand it then. I'm like, you know, dad's never around. And it's not that he didn't want to be around. It's just he had no choice.
Yep.
You know, my mother was there. She worked as well. The only person the only one that was taking care of me at the time was my older sister. You know, and it was just one of those. It's just a tough thing.
Yeah. But I feel like that's kind of how that generation was, man. Just, you know, nose to the grindstone work. You didn't really have to like your father, but you would respect your father, you know, and, you know, they just provided, but that was their job, was to work and provide and make sure everybody had a roof over their head and food on the table and, you know, a couple presents at Christmas. You know, that's how my father was, right? You know, but, you know, then we kind of learned that, like, it was good, right? It wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was a terrible childhood, but could have been done better.
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
And now, so same thing. Like, I make sure that my boys, like, you know, I'm teaching them the things that I wish that I knew. You know, they come home from college or from school this year. I get them set up with a financial advisor.
Perfect.
Go sit down with this guy. I don't care how much. I don't care if you make $10 a week, dude. Go sit down with him. He's going to tell you exactly how to spend and save that $10.
That's awesome.
Like that type of stuff. I had to figure that shit out.
That's awesome. I did the same thing with my daughter. I took custody of my daughter when she was 13, and when she came into the house, I said to her, I go, listen, you're going to live with me. I says, I live life differently than the way you lived it with your mom. I go, it's either you live it my way or you go back to your mother's house. And she's like, no, Dad, I want to be with you. So years have gone by. I put her through college. She got her bachelor's. She got her master's. She lives in South Weymouth now, and she's a therapist.
Nice.
But on top of that, she's still hustling a side hustle.
Yeah.
And because she sees what I've been trying to teach her, that what she's making is good for her age, but she wants more. Yep. My son's the same way. My son's 25 years old. He went through the whole drug thing. I hated it. After I was done my time, I hated it. He used to come to the house, always had marijuana. And I'm on the 3rd floor, laying in bed. Not that he smoked it, because I told him, if you're going to smoke outside. But he would open up a jar, and the vents would just bring it into my...
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, no, he shows me. I get it. I hear you. I can't bust his balls for something that I used to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go and deal it. I'm just saying if you're going to smoke it, smoke it.
Yeah.
Have respect.
Yeah.
But now he worked for North Point Landscaping.
Oh, yeah. That's a great company.
I know Dave, and he lived in my development. And I said to him, I go, hey, Dave, my son works for a landscaping company in Mass. I want to bring him closer. Is there anything you could do for him? Dave's like, have him call me.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
He's been working for him ever since.
Yeah.
And as long as he keeps himself on the straight and narrow and side hustles, because he does his own spring cleanups and stuff like that.
Yep.
What can I ask of him? I can't ask for anything more.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
No, not at all.
Those types of jobs, we need help. So anybody that's willing to help.
He loves it. He's a typical, I don't want to say redneck, but he's a typical New Hampshire kid.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
He's got the scruff, the long hair. He loves fishing. Yeah. He loves his cars. He took the car part from me because I love cars. So, so I tell him, I go, if you don't buy it if you can't afford to repair it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
And he's getting a taste of it. So
sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
All right. So toolbox tips, man. What advice would you give yourself at 20?
If I could go back to when I was 20 years old, I would definitely still hustle like I'm hustling, but I would invest my money differently. I would invest it in real estate and treat myself when I needed to be treated. When I was a kid, I just spent my money growing up, 17, 18, 20, 25, spent it frivolously. I would invest it in real estate and change my whole mindset.
Yeah.
It's real estate's the way to go if you want equity. If you want something. I have more liabilities than I have equity.
Yeah.
Than I have assets. Because I love my liabilities. I'm sorry.
You love your cars.
I love my cars. It sucks, but listen. I work all the time. I have the one car that I have that I cherish, and a lot of people think that I'm out flaunting. I'm not flaunting. It makes me happy. Leave me alone.
You worked hard for it?
Yeah.
You bought it with your own money?
That's it. I'm not bothering anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not stealing.
Yeah.
I'm not selling drugs. I work. But when I used to show up to work for the government in cars like that, that's when they questioned it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They questioned it many times.
I bet.
So many investigations.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
I tell them all the time, you can investigate all the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You ain't going to get the dirt on me, kid.
Yeah.
This is all legit. But
sometimes people just don't understand. It's not so much how much you make, it's how much you spend, Right. So there was a story about this janitor who worked for a college and, worked there for 40 years. And when he died, he had like $5 million in the bank. There's a janitor making shit money. He just didn't spend anything.
Right.
And all of that money, he donated back to the fucking school.
That's awesome.
And it's like, if you can live a very simple life on the money that you have and still have nice things if you want, Just depends on what you want to fucking spend it on.
Yeah.
We only live once, man. Fuck it. You want the car? Go get the fucking car. If you can afford it, get it.
And that's what I do. You know, my dad always said to me, he goes, never tell anybody what you do with your money.
Yeah.
Never tell anybody how much you have. You know?
Yeah.
And if you're gonna commit a crime, commit it by yourself.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Truth.
So I took that advice and I ran with it. You know, when somebody says something to me and like, oh, you think you're a big man, listen, I could care less. Dude, I don't give a fuck what you say.
Yeah.
You don't pay my bills.
Yeah.
I had one guy one time. I had my radio at the gas station in Derry. I had my radio up just a little bit louder than what I would normally have. I got out of the car getting gas.
Yeah.
Guy goes, hey, you mind if you lower that radio? I says, hold on a minute. I took out my wallet. I look at my car. He's like, what are you doing? I says, I'm looking for my pay stub because I want to see if your fucking name is on it. I go, because not happening, bro.
Yeah.
Put your gas, go home.
Yeah. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Oh.
I'm not busting anybody's balls. Okay, the music was a little bit louder than it should have been.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. But really?
But at the end of the day, you're there for fucking 3 minutes pumping gas. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't that bad.
No.
You know, that's the thing. That's the thing with those types of people. And this will get me fucking started. Is that they just haven't experienced enough suck to know that like what's worth fucking having an argument about and what's not. Like somebody pulls up with their fucking radio blast at the fucking gas. I feel good for that guy. Like he's in a good fucking mood. He's out taking a ride, got his fucking tunes blaring, pumping some gas. Like if you're gonna complain about something like that, you just have not been through enough shit in life.
True.
You know.
Now, I was trying to figure out that day whether or not I'm losing my hearing because it was a little louder than it should have been. But I wasn't going to give in to this dude.
Yeah.
Again, leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
I don't ask for anything from anyone. No help for nothing. Yeah. If I got to do it, I'm going to try to do it myself. And then if I know I can't do it, then I'll reach out. You know, and even sometimes reaching out, you're waiting on somebody else to help you.
Yeah.
And you know how that works.
Yeah.
Fucking 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Truth. All right, man. I think that's about it, brother. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for having me.
Glad that we get to have this conversation, man. Get to know you a little bit. I'm excited about buying a couple of T-shirts. And I have a couple of connections I think I'm going to hook you up with. Probably do it via email. So I'm going to grab your email from you.
That's fine.
How can people find you? Social media? How can people get in touch?
Well, right now they can find me on Facebook just under my name, Franco Sapia, Sapia. But if they want to go onto the website, once I get that up and running in the next week, again, I should have had somebody do it for me. But listen, everybody needs a job. Right. So I'm willing to wait. They can find me on 06 Reveille, REVIELLE. And they can go there. They can leave. I mean, once it brings them to the landing page, it asks you for your email. So if they want to drop me an email and they want to add their email, I'll return, whatever it is that the question they have, I'll return an answer from them right away.
Okay. Any minimums as far as purchasing?
T-shirts is $29.99.
Yeah.
And again,
people can just buy one-offs?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Again, I'm not making anything right now.
Yeah.
And that's not, again, when I say that, I'm not trying to say I'm not making anything. I want to get the name out. I want to get the mission out.
Yep.
So I don't mind taking a hit.
Yep.
And getting all these little contacts and foundations and events that I go to, that's how I'm going to get my name out.
Yep.
Further out than what it is now.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everybody.